Going into our first match of the day, I'm sure some people not fully familiar with everything going on in the tournament, so I'll bring it up to speed. Second tournament of the Sweat Empire Discord. Obviously, in the future, for anyone not aware, you can join, participate for free in the future in any tournaments that are partaken anytime along the line from now. But, having started right now, we have who we have, and they're about to battle it out for a $50 prize. I mean, not insane, but I mean, that's still a chunk of money, so worth fighting for. Getting into our first games, we have some familiar faces for anybody who is aware of our past tournaments. Disfigure Gaming being a returning team looking to claim their prize. They didn't win last time, but hoping to get some revenge on other familiar faces competing and hoping to do their very best in the rerun. Low Lives also containing some players you might be aware of, Willie being one of them, as a returning person from a previous team, but as a whole, the roster being new to the tournament. Hopefully going to be seeing some new things out of them, even if their name isn't exactly the most flattering. Not too much time to break down the teams before we get right into the game, but what I will say from, if I could guess, what most people in the chat would be predicting here, it does seem like Disfigure Gaming has the crowd advantage from what I've been hearing. Obviously, that is not an indicator of exactly what's going to be happening, but it is a decent reminder of who people believe is on top. After all, very notable figures in the Discord, in the community, Fiery, Easy Clap being notable players with good notoriety. Not exactly any standout names from Lowlies, but I'm sure after the match here, possibly could be changing. Going into Cafe, going to be an interesting pick for a best of one after all. It is decently even in percentages from defense to attack. Usually ends up to be a 2-4 or 3-3 in competitive matches such as this. I would be expecting something along those lines if we were to follow the norm, but you never know, and people can always pull ahead when they're not supposed to. So let's get right into it.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Going to be Disfigure Gaming on defense first. Definitely not sure exactly how much advantage that will be giving to, either side of the table here. After all, if something comes up, it has to go down. Defense eventually leads to attack. It's only a temporary advantage, and they have to enjoy it while it lasts. But either way could lead, as I said, slightly defender favored to a early defender gap in terms of Disfigure Gaming, getting a few rounds on the board and making Low Lives have to catch up on them as they push to get those rounds back on the opposite half. Going on site, strategy looks to be a standard setup from Disfigure Gaming. Going top, as would be expected. Normal ops being brought. Seems like a spawns peek here from Ella. Not sure if the pistol is the play, as the cool kids call it, but fortunately for him, unfruitful, as no one seemed to have spawned Park in the prep phase. A low hold from Priest here on the Malusi, looking to hold down that bakery from the attackers here, as they're early on taking the ground outside, as would be expected, getting those hatches open, getting ready to make plays. Obviously, you want to get those angles open for later in the round, so eventually, when you're ready to make a drop or get utility thrown in, everything's already in place and there's no delays for when you want to actually make your move. A lot of these early few minutes going to be just kind of preparation for the attackers as they plan their maneuver where they'd like to enter into the building. Kind of easing out, trying to figure out where the defense has a weak spot, and then hopefully exploiting it on their part. Pretty top focus here from the attackers. Not seeing any stairway plays, as I can see. Probably a good move, though. It does seem like there is a lot of utility down there, specifically those Malusis and the Ella gadgets to keep them at bay. So I would actually agree that a hatch play would be the most effective in this scenario. The actors kind of just easing their way around the map, looking for an entry point, and hopefully finding some weakness that they can exploit. Malusi having pushed off from downstairs. We see our first pick from Priest here, instantly refragged though as he jumps out of, I assume that to be east window there as he goes for a early pick onto the IQ. I wouldn't say that's the worst, as Priest has already put down on the Malusi, having put down all her utility. Well, Jackoff, being on the IQ, has active utility. That would have been useful for the entirety of the round, but being killed in the first minute and a half, not going to be great for the attack. See the Twitch here finally going for a play. Seems like another run out from the defense here as Ella goes out, but unfortunately unable to get any picks in his attempt. Finally, some downstairs plays coming from the defense as they have all rotated downwards to come up through the map. Definitely the correct play here, as the defense doesn't really seem to know what's going on here. Been a lot of time with silence in the map. And finally, it's going to be the ace on the attack to try to make a play here, pushing up to white, but unfortunately getting caught in the crossfire as Doc is able to catch him while he's in the Malusi. Second pick coming from Fiery on the Jaeger as he's able to take out the running up attackers, and a third going to Fiery. All on Civilian on the Twitch, holding top red stairs now into the Malusi with 15 seconds on the clock. Can't say I'm surprised at that outcome. The first round goes to the defense, as Twitch, placed in a pretty impossible situation, takes the blunt of the damage inside that Malusi trap. Very powerful operator. Unfortunate that she is able to come into play. Although it does seem like, for a second there, the attack might have had some sort of advantage there, as they were able to get downstairs and try to push up through the map. I think in the end there, it makes sense. It came down to pretty much just the defense able to win their gunfights, get their picks, and of course the attackers being funneled into the top of the staircase. Not really sure where else they could appear from. Obviously they have to pick all the different angles that the defenders could be holding, while the defenders holding just the one angle makes it a very lopsided situation, specifically if the defense has a cross angle like Doc and Jaeger did on that white stairs hold. Moving on to round number 2 here, though. Plenty of opportunity for a comeback here from the attack. Obviously, just round 1 there, unless they're instantly getting demoralized, which I assume is not the case. Low Lives still having plenty of time to bring back a few rounds and make it a 3-3. I think in most people's opinions, Bakery being a slightly weaker site than Bar, although still a formidable challenge. It's going to be interesting to see how the strategy of the defenders carries downstairs, as we didn't really see too many complex angles there on Bar. It was pretty much just utility, deployable shield, hold cross angles, get picks. And although they did do a lot of risky stuff there in the early round with the runouts, getting themselves into a manhole at 3 and 4 in the last minute, they were able to pull out at the end as the attackers funneled down into common positions and just were unable to win out the gunfights. Hopefully that's not the case here. Unfortunately, though, the attack not bringing any hard breach. That is definitely going to be biting them in the back later on when they're trying to get open those bakery walls, trying to get some angles into sight, and they're just not able to. If I were them, I really would have suggested that they would bring some form of denial, hard breach, maybe even a Thatcher just to get rid of the utility. Anything. Although it seems even when it comes to soft breach and vertical play, which is very prevalent on Cafe, on Bakery, or sorry, on Kitchen, it seems like they don't even have anything very reliable, no Sledge or Buck in sight. It's going to be a very difficult round just from the mere operators brought. Low Lives digging themselves into a pit here, not bringing the correct people to make themselves have an easier lifestyle. Ayana just going straight in with the charge, getting a little bit of utility, now noticing that Bakery is clear and ready to be taken, until Cade getting a rotate in here and challenging, obviously, the correct person to be holding this, as the utility is down and he is ready to make a sacrifice. Holding on to a push in the Bakery. It seems like the attackers, Low Lives, putting all their eggs in one basket, focusing completely on taking Bakery here, leaving the defenders to set up and prepare for their attack, not really giving them anything to look behind their backs about. Little bit of movement here, almost a kill onto the Cade. Unfortunately, a duck at the right time was able to save Salt from an early grave here. Looking to get a pick onto the IQ, seemingly going for a one-tap. Not sure if that's the most competitively viable move to be having right now, but fortunately for him, making the smart move, able to rotate out and live Valkyrie going for a run out on bottom white. Refragged, not on him, but on another from Bakery. Twitch able to get that pick onto Valkyrie there, putting us in a 4v4 here. Definitely still in the favor of the defense, though, as there has been very little to no progress made by the attackers in the last 2 minutes onto getting the site control. Sophia trying to make something happen here as he gets his way into small office, small bakery. Looking to get this pick onto Doc, able to snag the head of Meow there. He goes out, now low on health. It's up to Fiery to hold the hallway down here, and he misses a few shots over the head, just shy of a head shot to close out that gunfight. Unfortunately, not so. But moves being made here by the attack just in the nick of time, otherwise I would have called it. Bakery control being given up, and Fiery on the Malusi going down, leaving the defense in a 2v4. Not the most ideal situation. Our two remaining defenders being Easy, or Nick, and Salt on the Bandit and Cade, holding down the two entrances to the building, waiting for the push from the attack here as they prepare and holster up. A one-tap coming in from Salt here from the TSG-12, able to bring things into a little bit closer of a match as a 2v3 is our current standing. To the attackers, hoping to make a play on red hallway here, but unfortunately it seems like there's not going to be much that they can do here, being in a funnel neck, unless they're able to get this pick onto Bandit, but still no moves being made. It seems like, oh, that is unfortunate. The attack losing their diffuser, and unfortunately going down with the time. Very clear to see the downfall there, having been the lack of push, lack of motivation from the attackers there. Low lives really taking way too long to get control there, and obviously not bringing any hard breach is not ideal at all. I would expect them, if they were serious about taking Bakery there, to have brought some denial, some hard breach, possibly some push operators, not just fraggers, and certainly push much sooner than they did there, as just taking way too long in the last few seconds led them with pretty much no option except getting miraculous kills, which obviously is very difficult to rely on. Looks like a bit more of a strategic play here from Low Lives, bringing the Thatcher and the Ace, possibly hoping to get, not even sure what, obviously the defenders being pushed down to exclusively second floor. They don't really have too many options for getting walls here. I can't imagine what their play might be here unless they're planning on a pillar's take. I can't quite imagine it, but either way, the hard breach is there if they need it. Possibly getting dining wall from White. Hard to say on their exact strategy here, but it's good to see them making the effort anyway. On the defense here, Disfigure bringing similar operators to last time. I'd say that's probably the correct move. I mean, don't knock what works, right? If it was effective last time, it seems likely that it would be equally as effective this time, unless something serious changed about the strategy of the defenders here. Going on reading, I think most people would agree being the stronger of the two sites on second floor. Gonna be, even saying that, it's gonna be a difficult round for the defense. I think most people would not, you know, pick any second floor site over, just say, Bakery or Bar. But either way, I think with what we've seen in the last few rounds, even at a disadvantaged site with little control, they're going to still be able to pull through on that top control from what we've been seeing from them.
5 seconds left.
Hopefully they're going to be able to carry over their main assets from the last few rounds, being winning those gunfights and being in good positioning when the time comes, and they're going to be able to transition that over to a less effective site to make plays when they need it. Attack looking to have mostly focused on Christmas Market. From that, seems like maybe an East play rotating over now from Thatcher. It's quite hard to see the strategy here, really. Not really much comes to mind when we see what's being employed early in the round here, but maybe a White play. Seems like that's going to be the case here. Thatcher getting up on the roof, hoping to get some of that top control, and we see a promising pick coming in from the sledge here as he's able to pick off one of the defenders playing in bottom white. Meow on the Doc, going down early in the round, especially tragic for the defense, as being Doc with that passive utility is going to hurt his teammates later in the round. Seems like a pretty smart attack here coming from the Low Lives as they focus on this dining window here, hopefully, or seemingly trying to make a play on a, unfortunately, bad reaction time from that sledge is going to be causing a pick for the Jaeger. through dining onto the window. Looking for a second here. He's almost going to be able to get it, but unfortunately, that Sophia just a little bit quicker and a little bit faster, able to get the pick, putting us in a 4v3 for the attack. Things still slowly starting to fall apart for the defense here, but we've seen Disfigure Gaming in a situation like this before, twice now actually. Even on lower man count, they've still been able to pull out the rounds by winning their gunfights and wasting time. So I'm optimistic to see what they're going to be able to do here with slightly weaker manpower. A lot of information coming in here from the attack. They're in a very good position right now to be able to make a play with all these drones going in. I'm pretty sure they're aware of all the positioning of the defense. I wouldn't be surprised if they started to set up cross angles and get stuff sorted for the upcoming plant that I expect they're going to be taking. Looking like Thatcher going to be the one to go in for the first pick, hopefully, or assumedly. I mean, he was planning to, but unfortunately that Malusi getting in the way and stopping him from making his desired plans. Salt on here, close on White Stairs, about to be in a close confrontation with multiple of the attackers, and gets even worse for the defense as Zofia able to pick off another one of the remaining Disfigure Gaming roster members. Bandit finally able to get a pick. No, that is just unfortunate for him. Thatcher able to get a pick when he probably shouldn't have, flicking around and taking out the Bandit of the defense. All left up to Priest now in a 1v4 situation, but 15 seconds on the clock. There is hope if he's able to get this denial down. It all comes down to picks here, though. In a 1v4 situation, there's very little to do with strategy, but more of a Call of Duty approach. Looking to see if any of the attackers will give him easy picks. Unfortunately not. The IQ swinging out and hitting his shots, getting the round for his team. A much better approach here from the attack as they bring the correct operators and take site properly. Very nicely done on timing there from the attackers, able to clear out the map pretty clearly. I mean, at the start there, it seemed quite clear. They weren't really sure which direction they were going in, kind of spawning in the wrong spots, rotating around, kind of making strategies on the moment. But once they kind of got into the groove, got a few picks, and got that top control, things were looking a lot clearer where the round was going, and things moving too quickly to really individually point out. Seemed almost instantly the defenders just losing easy gunfights, and map control being taken, dining room being planted on, and all of a sudden a 1v4 in a close to unwinnable situation for the Valkyrie. If there is any chance of Lola's getting a few more rounds on attack here, it's going to be to play rounds just like that, slow and steady, taking map control, and getting picks that they need when they need them. But, as I stated earlier in the stream, I don't expect Lowlives to be getting that many rounds on attack. After all, Cafe being a defender-sided map like most, I would expect this to go 2-4. And I think similarly for Disfigure Gaming when they get on the opposite side. But you never know. Things could shift either way, and it could, be more drastic for either of these teams. A 4-2 for attack, Lowlives. A 5-1 for Disfigure Gaming. Who knows? We just have to wait and see. Fortunately for the defense now, having lost a round, able to get back to Bar, seemingly, I think, one of their strongest sites, actually, being, after all, having 3 people alive in the last few seconds, where for Bakery, having only 2 alive in the last, 10, 15 seconds, I think this was probably the correct choice going back here, and I would assume an easy round unless we see the attackers switching up their playstyle and doing something different from what they did last time. So going for a run out here on the Mozzie. Unfortunately, no one going into his line of sight. Kind of a risky run out, to be fair. And no health either way, which is probably what I think most people would expect from something like that. I mean, it's risky, and it's high reward if anyone was actually to go there, but unfortunately for Salt, he did not have the element of surprise, because there was no one to surprise being in the correct positioning. Possibly if he had waited a few more seconds, that could have gone differently. As last time, we're seeing attackers, Low Life Gaming, going for top floor as would be expected. I mean, I don't expect anything else. One thing I would like to see them do differently than they did from last time is rotate downstairs and get some downstairs control while they still have some upper presence, but that is not looking good, as an early nitro from Salt comes out and is able to kill the Zofia while he is on the Belk, and a second nitro. That is demoralizing, I'm sure, for the attack. 2 nitro kills early in the round in the first minute, taking down 2 strong fragging members of the attack, or at least one. Willie, the top frag for his team, going down early, and that is just not a great spot you want to be in before even engaging. Seems like the attackers having nothing to lose, going in hard and looking to get picks on the defense here. Unfortunately, though, the Kali getting pinched between 2 angles isn't really going to have many options in that situation. It's going to be Thermite up next to take the Gauntlet of Fire, pushing into red, but that's going to be a 1-tap from Salt. The BM is rampant. Unfortunately, not looking too great for the attack here, as their members picked off one by one in quite demoralizing ways, and finally finished in a flawless round as the defenders pick up their 3rd on the board, going back to Bar, being even more dominant than before. With those 2 nitros and a 1-tap, I can't quite see how the attackers would bounce back from that. Being very just in their moment, they're in their element. It doesn't seem like there was much that Low Lives could really do against that, because as we saw in the one round that was won by Low Lives, their victory came pretty much exclusively from coordination, teamwork, pushing up top, clearing out roamers. It was all very together. So as we see there, when they try to do some solo pushes, when they try to take things on their own, the gun skill just doesn't match up to their opponents and they get pummeled. So if I were in Low Life shoes, assessing their situation, I would acknowledge that and hopefully be looking to bring a bit more strong team coordination into the future rounds and try to get these walls open on Bakery, as I'm sure they expect them to go. Unfortunately, though, it seems like Low Life's just bringing the wrong ops at the wrong time. As for Bar and Second Floor, not really needing that hard breach, but then having that tag 2 with the Thatcher and the Ace. But then when it's actually needed on Kitchen, we're not seeing any of that, bringing the Ying and the Blitz and the Fuse. I'm not quite sure I approve of their team-building methods, but I'm not one to bug on the strategy. Obviously, there is a deeper meaning behind it, and it has been pre-planned, or at least I hope. Going back to Bakery, we did see this be a kind of close round on the previous Bakery hold, coming down to a 3v2 in the final seconds for the attack. Unfortunately, I think their main loss there being wasting too much time. I think if they had pushed a little bit sooner last time and taken gunfights a little bit more readily, we would have been more open to seeing a victory in their corner, or at least if they'd been able to take some decent gunfights. But hopefully learning from their mistakes this time, they will, I assume, adapt their strategy to just be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more map taking quickly, and hopefully be able to take that Bakery prep right away and get on with the round. So I'm going to be going for a 1-tap. Either way, someone is going to die, and I'm expecting it's not going to be any of the attackers. Going for a 1-tap here, it doesn't seem likely that this is going to go in his favor, or maybe not. We'll have to see. Getting pinched from a few angles. Cade making the smart move, deciding to fall back or not. Alright. Cade just going for more and more 1-taps, almost getting it there, so close to a ultimate BM shot. Almost getting it there too. Unfortunately, the first pick not going to him, but Fiery on the Jaeger as he's able to get a pick onto the Twitch, and then the Blitz. The attackers just stacking up for the roster of Disfigure Gaming, giving them easy picks as they look away, not really giving any sort of competition, as we haven't seen any health taken off the defenders so far in the game. Oh my god, and there we go again. The 1-tap finally coming in from Salt, as he gets his BM in while he can. Almost a second 1-tap there, but unfortunately not so. All left up now on Willie, looking to get maybe a few picks before his inevitable demise, unless he's able to pull out some form of superior plays. That will not be the case, though. Round going to Disfigure Gaming. Again, that was quite dominant. It's unfortunate we can't get a replay there on the 1-tap from Salt, but I'm sure it was magnificent. It was the Revolver 44 mag 1-tap, and that would not feel good if I were on the attack here. Definitely not ideal for them. I mean, it's one thing to be in a 1-4 hole on attack. That's expected, I think, to some extent, or even standard. But when you're losing to this sort of pedigree, to these sort of operators, even the Tachanka and the Warden play coming out, and the one-taps in the previous rounds, I find it difficult to see how they're going to be able to find the motivation to push into future rounds and get some of their mojo back. Still not seeing the approved, or what I would say the correct operator plays from the attack here. I mean, to some extent, I maybe there's some strategy behind it, but it really just doesn't make sense for lowlives to be bringing these operators when it's very clear that what they need is soft breach, hard breach, smokes, planting. Seems like they're not really focusing on that avenue of the game, which is fine if you have the gun skill to back it up on the other avenue, which, as we've seen so far, it seems compared to Disfigure Gaming, they do not. Hopefully going to be seeing some change there. Obviously, everything is subject to some form of motion. It's possible they are just gods of defense, which is, could happen. Not calling any shots just yet. But with what I would assume is the Tachanka spawn peak coming in this round, I just don't know where this match, this game might go for lowlives. I don't see, from my personal opinion, from what we've seen so far, I'm not giving too much hope towards them unless they start getting some of their momentum back, start making some intelligent plays, and start getting rounds on the board. Taking a look at that Tachanka spawn peak, it's not going to be the turret, thankfully for them. The BM is kept to a minimum, and seemingly no one spawning park. Going to be a boring spawn peak for the Tachanka unless he goes for something ultra aggressive, which it seems that he is not. The attack just playing it safe outside, obviously just waiting to see where the spawn peaks are coming from. Maybe playing it a bit too slow here as they are burning time when it doesn't seem like anybody is still spawn peaking. But as from the previous rounds, what we saw, it makes sense that they would do that. That is not great for the attack. Unfortunately, not looking great to start off here. Warden able to get not one but two picks onto the rushing attackers from main entrance. Obviously, the Twitch was not ready for that. And a third going to Salt here. All the attackers just lining up, and it is a wrap for the attack. Unfortunately, their plan obviously having failed. Willie still in spawn. Very demoralizing. The defense just slaughtering everything to do with the attackers' push, their strategy, whatever they were planning to do there, it didn't work. Unless, as I said before, Willie's able to pull out a magnificent clutch, starting with that Tachanka kill. It's going to be a 5-1 for Disfigure Gaming going into the split. But I'm not going to call anything before it's happened. Who knows? Maybe Disfigure Gaming is going for a throw. It's hard to say. Right now, coming out here from Valkyrie, looking to get the pick. Not so. I mean, I would never bet on anybody outside giving the enemy wall hacks. Hard to say, though, if, I mean, they're obviously justified to do a little bit of something wacky as they are up so many rounds, and even more in the bag. I wasn't actually expecting any of these outside plays to work, but somehow Fiery able to get a pick from the window here, putting Disfigure Gaming into a 5-1 lead. Let's take a little look at the scoreboard at the half mark here. Carries for the both teams, obviously being Willie and Fiery both putting in the most work for their team. I mean, it's hard to look at positives about the roster of lowlives. Having so many players who just aren't contributing in a meaningful way, it's hard to see how, unless they have some sort of form of bounce back here, yeah, I'm not quite sure what the motivation might be, or the energy level for the roster there. It's possible some of them just not giving it their all, maybe demoralized from the first few rounds. I'm not in their heads, I don't know. But either way, on a statistic level, performance just not coming in from lowlives roster. From everything that they've done so far, just mostly, except for the one round obviously, being unsuccessful in their attempts to get ground on the map. Bit of troll operators coming in here from the attack. Disfigure Gaming bringing the Amaro and the Glass. Actually, I take that back. Amaro recently getting that buff in the Year 5 Season 2 patch. Actually, quite a strong fragger now, so I won't break their bubble on that. But not quite sure about the intelligence of the Glass pick. Either way, going into the second half, only 2 rounds off of a victory for Disfigure Gaming. It's going to be interesting to see how our roster here of low lives adapts to the defense, and maybe you're able to make something of this match and get some momentum back, because as we know, it's all about momentum when it comes to winning rounds. If you win 1, that turns into 2, 3, and then maybe 4. It's hard to say. Yeah, not too much optimism here from the low lives roster. Doesn't seem like they have too much strategy coming in here on their setup. Hopefully we'll see. Oh, there is some setup coming in. I'd like to see a little bit more from them if they're expecting to get some ground on the round here. But ideally, able to. I would expect they just they hope to win their gunfights, maybe to be in the right place at the right time, and just win out the round in a less intelligent way. Oh no. Civilian going for the good old shield trick. I'm not sure how well that's going to be working on players like these, but he's going to be giving it a try nonetheless. A lot of downstairs control here from the defense. Unfortunately, the first pick going on to Fiery here, and a second. Oh, things are not looking good. Fiery also on the ace, having already taken site control. I can't even keep up with the speed of the take here from the attack. Many missed shots from Pulse here, putting his teammate in a 1v5 scenario, trapped in Freezer. Not too much he can do here, able to get a pick on Amaru, though. Some hope here, in my mind. Unfortunately, though, reaction time not on fleek for Jack Hoff there, losing his gunfight to Fiery on the ace. And match point for this game, Disfigure Gaming putting themselves in a 6-1 lead here, looking to close out the game quick on attack, seemingly not slowing down even at the disadvantaged side. As I mentioned before, it's looking to be a wrap here. I always hold out optimism. There may be something new. There may be something I wasn't expecting coming out here. Maybe they were just trolling. Who knows? But either way, it's down to the wire now, and if Lowlife wants to do something about this game, they're going to have to do it now. There isn't too much more wiggle room for messing around. They're going to... Yeah, it actually seems like, as I call it there, Lowlife picking a very viable roster here, bringing a lot of very solid operators, possibly trying to make a go of this right at the end here. Maybe they were ringing. Who knows? We'll have to see in the round here. But with a roster consisting of that Echo and Malusi, obviously in the meta, some informational ops, and that Doc as the backbone of the team, I'm feeling a little bit more confident here about the Lowlife's defense. They might actually have something going here. As for Disfigure Gaming's lineup, not so confident. Some operators not exactly the go-to, I would say, if you were trying to put together a cohesive roster. But considering they've been winning all their gunfights with seemingly minimal effort, who knows? Who knows? Interesting enough, going to be going to a kitchen defense. Just like to mention, they are not required to go to kitchen here. After all, having lost on bar, they were well justified to go back to the previous site, but seemingly having not gone so well for them, deciding to switch it up to a similarly strength site on Bakery. I'd say it's actually quite even in the skill cap there. A lot of utility getting put down very early. As I said, this is a very good sign. Seems like it's very possible these guys were ringing here. The Low Lives roster just maybe having a good laugh before coming back to dominate. Everything about what they're doing in the round here just so much better than previously. Having all this utility down, getting their reinforcements down, bringing the correct operators, having a good ratio of defenders or roamers to anchors. I'd say this is looking better already, but going to be a rush from the attack here. Are they going to be up for it? I'm not quite sure. Quick Bakery take coming here from Fiery here. Unfortunately, his teammate on Meow going to be taken down early by the Legion as he rotates out, getting the pick and then falling off. The Blitz here in position to try to take ground quickly. Pushing into prep, but unfortunately getting echoed and going to have to be moving off the push. A lot of intel coming in here from Low Lives. They do seem to know a very large amount of the locations of the attackers. Very good for the future of the round. And another pick going for the defense here. Unfortunately, a refrag coming to Willie as he's finally taken down by Easy Clap on the Ash. But a refrag going back to the attack, looking like it's going to be pretty much in the hands of Low Lives unless they're able to, or Disfigure Gaming, I mean, able to pull out something particularly special in the last few moments of the round. Another attacker falling on the Blitz here. Frostwolf on the Valkyrie, able to get a pick, leaving Easy Clap on the Ash in a 1v5 scenario. Not sure what he's going to do about here. Unfortunately, almost missing that dock there, but able to just snag the kill. And onto the round we go. Malushi Trap keeping in place, but I'd say with plenty of time, the Diffuser, and good health on the board, there is some hope for the Ash here of Disfigure Gaming to maybe make something of this. If he's efficient with his time and able to make intelligent decisions in the moment, I would say there is a decent chance of a comeback here. But I'd like to point out, I mean, obviously the defense much stronger than it was before, so I pose the question, if the defense was capable of something this strong and this capable, and if they wanted to win in the first place, why wait until match point before you start making your comeback? Either way, we're going to have to see if that was just a lucky round, or if Low Lives have truly been faking out this entire time, possibly just hoping to get the game as long as possible before making a miraculous comeback against their opposing roster. As I said, there's everything about that round, from team composition, placement, gunfights, roaming, reinforcements, everything about that round for Low Lives was stronger than before. It's very obvious that in comparison to their previous rounds, there's a lot more thought and a lot more effort going into how they're playing now. So I would expect maybe a little bit more of a close round here in the next few seconds, but either way, we'll have to see. Going into round number 9, it seems like both teams no longer meddling with any funny business. Even the attack here of Disfigure Gaming finally bringing themselves a decent roster, obviously hoping to clean this up well they still can without letting things get too out of hand. The defense going back to Bar, obviously they did beat Low Lives, the Disfigure Gaming did, on Bar in previously, 2 rounds before. Possibly hoping to repeat that, as it was a pretty dominative round, coming down to a 5v1 before the Rook just getting traded and then taken out. We'll have to see what happens here, as there does seem, as I'd like to again restate, going into round number 3 on defense for Low Lives, putting way more thought into the operators they're bringing. A lot more in positioning, just everything about how they're playing the rounds out now. A lot more effective, efficient, and round-winning than they were before.
Attackers' objective is to locate a bomb and attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Spompy coming in here from Civilian, unfortunately getting the timing wrong and unable to get anything from it. Seemingly a Maru rush coming in here from Fiery as he zooms right into Nubalk and is already ready to go. Is able to get one pick, almost two. That would have been miraculous, but it is not the case. A trade coming in from Amaru here as he gets a quick pick. And, ooh, another trade coming back, or not trade, a pick coming on from the defense here. Vigil able to take out another member of the attack, almost getting retraded back there, but unfortunately not. I was not able to capture the action there, but I'm sure it was miraculous. Pick coming back from Zofia here as he's able to take out the top frag of the defense here on the Jaeger. Seems like Ying ready to go for a play here, noticing the Vigil's location, is almost able to get a pick, but no, the Bashi coming in clutch. The defenders now with the man advantage in a 3v2. Possibly another round here from the defense, as they do seem to be winning their gunfights quite efficiently without taking too much damage back and in a timely manner. Although it is notable to say that one of the defenders is offside, holding down in pillars, so in a quick push scenario, it's more of a 2v2 for the attackers than a 3v2, considering who they actually have to fight in order to get a plant down. Going to be a piano push here from the two remaining attackers of Disfigure Gaming, looking to clear out quick, get room, and take out the defenders. Obviously, they don't have Diffuser. Not quite sure why that's the case, but going to have to go for picks if they want to have this round in the bag. Maverick clearing out the corners, as he should be, looking for a few of the remaining defenders. Both Maverick and Zofia getting ready to make their play onto the site, and seemingly doing so with decent efficiency. Oh, that is a perfectly timed nade there from the attack. Bandit coming in here from the flank, but back on site. Definitely what the attackers are going to want now, considering they do have to go for picks if they want to win this round. Bandit able to get a pick from the back. Oh no, Maverick looking at the leg there but not noticing. That is truly unfortunate for Priest here, as he could have gotten a very easy pick, but not so. Left in a 1v2 situation with 30 seconds on the clock, able to get a very easy nade kill, and almost clutching out the round here. He could win the game for his team. Looking to get a swing, but no. Oh, very close with the two nade kills, but reaction time was just not there for Priest on the Maverick, just not able to get the pick on Civilian. It's going to be 6-3 for Disfigure Gaming, but a slow and steady comeback from Low Lives here, making the game a little bit closer than I think most people believe it should have been. Going into round number 10 here, I'm expecting a lot of the same here. I think both teams here are done with the BS. They've moved on from any sort of trolling that might happen, and both are, I think, eagerly and actually in their hearts trying to win now without much of the fluff going on around them. Low Lives making a decent comeback here with some of the pushes, some of the decent holds, bringing the right operators. I think it's also down to, I think Disfigure kind of not trying at this point, probably losing a bit of energy now that they're on match point, but hopefully still having enough to close out the game here so they can get the easy victory. Wouldn't it be terrible, Disfigure Gaming going all the way up to 6-1 and then losing from there? That would just be disheartening, but hopefully not the case here. Still has a massive lead on the other team, possibly looking to close us out. I'm not quite sure.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Either way, the defense moving down to the second floor, obviously a lot more difficult of a site than either of the other options here, bakery and bar being the ideals. Anything on the second floor just not being as effective when it comes to win rate from any level of play. When it comes to silvers, platinums, champions, or pro league, nothing really works on second floor. Or just to any extent, unless you have a good top hold. Seems like the Caveira going to be taking the brunt of that top floor hold here, looking to get control. And ooh, it seems like the defense here of Low Lives seemingly not trying anymore. I think might have gotten bored. OCD kicking in, or ADHD, my bad. Looking to the attack, seemingly still not giving it their all. After all, I don't think Amaru is part of any decent team composition that are truly trying to win. But either way, Amaru getting a pick nonetheless onto the Bandit as he rushes in quickly, taking out his opponent there. Most of the defense turtling down, hoping to just wait the defense out. But looking the way it is with where these players are sitting, it could be it. Yep, looking from how we're seeing Disfigure Gaming play now, it seems like we are actually seeing some real energy coming from them. A lot of top clearing, a lot of cross angles being held up. This is proper strategy coming in, and the frags are there too. IQ able to pick off another of the enemy, and able to even almost get the plant down. Oh, and just as you know it, it's a 1v5 on match point. That's going to be it, as the Caveira almost dying there, able to get one pick, but in this cross angle, it's going to be done. Disfigure Gaming taking the first game of the tournament here in a 7-3 victory. Quite decisive, and absolutely, I think most people would agree this was the outcome that was planned. Not exactly a shocker for most people.